All right, today we're doing the comparison that I think a lot of people want to see, and that's between the ANTA 2s and the TYRForce, because they're both carbon plated weightlifting shoes. Really the only ones out there, maybe the only fair comparison between all the weightlifting shoes. Both have the 1-inch heel. Obviously, ANTAs have a TPU heel, and then the Force ones have combination of TPU and the wood heel. I'm pretty sure both have synthetic uppers. These are size 10. They don't come in a 10.5. So if I were to go up for ANTAs, which like the 10s fit me pretty snug, I'd say a competition fit. But if I were to go up for the ANTAs, we're going up to a size 11, which I actually think that would actually work, judging by how my loos fit, because I wear the loos in a size 11 because they don't have a 10. But I mean, I would say either way you cut it, the size 10 in the ANTAs, I don't even think the size 11s in the ANTAs would match up to the width of the tiers, which are really wide. So like if you're asking me which fits my feet better, it's probably going to be the shape of the ANTAs, to be honest with you, because I just don't have like super wide feet. And even these 10s fit pretty good. Like length is okay. I could use a little bit of space, but I think I would rather them be a little bit more tight than a little bit or overly loose. Today, we're going to be doing a 10-minute EMOM of a snatch pull into a full snatch. I need to stretch more. And I'm going to keep the weight consistent today. I think I'm going to at 77 kilos, just so I can get a as fair comparison as possible. And I'll start with the ANTA 2s, and then round 5, I'll switch over. I feel more comfortable lifting in the forces, so making the switch shouldn't really affect my lifts too much. It's mainly because I've been using those a lot more often than the ANTAs, which I do like. I really like the ANTAs. It's going to be a pretty good comparison between the two shoes. And they both cost the same thing, $330. Except one is kind of difficult. You have to go roundabout like ways to get the ANTAs. Except it's kind of hard to get the ANTAs. You have to go either through direct from China or through work at EU. Whereas tiers, you're going to be able to just hop on the tier website. If you're in the United States, boom, 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 and order it right then and there. Right as I was like thinking about doing that snatch, I was thinking, my feet don't really feel like they're in the right spot. I just snatched it anyways, and that's what happens. That's just generally like how I feel with these shoes. It's just not super balanced. Like that heel to me is pretty obtrusive in these shoes. There's a big rise in like the arch part of the shoe, and you can really feel it in the midfoot, which is, I don't know, if you have collapsed arches, it's gonna be a little painful. Now, so far I haven't really had a lift yet that felt good with these shoes. A lot tighter than I remember. Okay, that one felt good. Finally, shit. Now we're getting somewhere. That one felt really good. Just need to warm up. Trying some straps today. I don't really use straps too often. I'm terrible actually with them, but we'll try them out. These are the new Lu Xiao Jun straps and they look pretty cool. And using straps, different beast. Sometimes I just need to feel the bar. I need that feedback. But straps kind of take that away. Maybe it's something I just need to get used to. Kind of early on that pull. Jam my hips into the bar. For how I felt in the warm-ups, still doing okay. Not bad. They've all gone up really easily. The pull has been not amazing every time. I think it's part of using straps. Like, I just kind of feel like the bars, like I let the bar get away from me. But otherwise, like the jumping, like I've landed in a pretty decent spot every time. And the bar's gotten to where I need it to go, so I'm sure the shoes are working. Ooh. That was the first one that was a little forward and short. To be fair, I didn't feel like I had a good grip on that one. Let's do a non-strap one, which I don't know, this sounds kind of scary because I've only been using strap. I hope my grip is ready for this one. Felt a little short. Definitely not as high as the first three. But we'll switch to the forces and see how that goes. They are a lot more comfortable. I didn't tie my right that great, so it's a little loose right now, but yeah, just the width is a lot more comfortable. Feels like my feet have been set free. Got under it, locked out. Didn't feel like I had a lot of time to get under it. That makes sense. But I got under it. A little jump forward though, don't like that. Yeah, I feel more at home. Like the difference that I had noticed right away is that the forefoot in the forces is more flexible. Because the forefoot on the ANTAs is really stiff. That was a good lift. Felt like I got a lot of height on that one. A lot of pop on that one. Yeah, I feel like they probably adjusted the forefoot on the Force ones in anticipation for the people using it. Like obviously, there's gonna be more American lifters using the Force ones. And split jerking is more prevalent here. Whereas the ANTAs are made in China, and for Chinese athletes, that's squat jerk. Oh shit. I think user error, really, because my straps weren't tight. That was good. Another one that just felt like went super duper high. Yeah, sometimes especially with my right, I just have trouble getting that strap around or getting it tight. Because that one I landed in an okay position, but I feel like the jump wasn't amazing on that one. That's my technique. It's not the shoes. I felt like I just swung that one up there. The key takeaways here is, one, the fit. With ANTAs, if you're like my size, and I think some other sizes, there's no half. So you're either gonna get a tighter shoe or you're gonna get a bigger shoe, which now that I took those ANTAs off, I would probably now just rather have the bigger shoe to just let my feet relax a little bit more and just probably have a little bit more room for my toes display. The Forces are just, they're way more comfortable in that regard because the toe box is so wide on these things. Another thing is the pitch of the ANTAs is greater. It's noticeable, it feels greater. And that might be because of the midfoot. Like you could really feel the midfoot pushing into your arches and it's not super comfortable. And it makes it hard to find foot contact or want to even like look for foot contact because it's pretty uncomfortable. The heel is also not as secure fitting around the back part. And this is for me personally, and this might be a personal problem, but like that's my problem with those. The Lu Xiao Juns, obviously ROM 4s, I all have that same issue. I've got pretty skinny ankles. And yeah, that's my issue with that. But the ankle secureness on and the fit, just lockdown on the Force ones is like really, really good. I think I've said it in the past, like these things are really hard to get your foot into because of how much you have to unlace them to get your foot in. In terms of stability, I would probably give it to the ANTAs. And this is the reason for that is because they have a solid TPU piece all throughout as the heel. And when you introduce like that gap, there is, I wouldn't say that it's unstable, but like you can feel like torsionally, like these can flex a little bit, which on the ANTAs, like you just feel so planted when you have those shoes on. And plus the heel geometry, I think is a little bit wider on those. It's got like the little outriggers, the angles and whatnot to make them just a wider platform overall. The grip, it's pretty close. I would say that the grip on the Force ones is better. I wouldn't say that it's like leagues better though. But the overall just like feel of the shoe, in my like opinion, is better on the Force ones. The shoe just, to me, feels like it's more responsive. Obviously, the forefoot is more flexible. It still has a good amount of pop. I would say that the ANTAs might have like a more stiff plate, but like if your technique is not that great and maybe your feet aren't that strong, like you're probably not going to be able to use that stiff of a plate for the ANTAs. Whereas I think with the TYRs, it's like, it's pretty inviting for people. Like it doesn't feel like there's a learning curve to use these. Whereas on the ANTAs, it feels like there's a learning curve. And like I've said it in the past, like the ANTAs feel like the ceiling is really high on them, but you know, like the learning curve to get up there is pretty steep as well. Whereas like when I put the Force ones on, I felt like I was pretty good with them already. Like I felt right at home in these shoes in terms of like stability, ground control, being able to just put on a 1-inch heel and just go ahead and hit my lifts. I feel really comfortable in these shoes. And this is coming from somebody that really likes the ANTAs too. But yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. I don't know if I missed something. So if I did, if there's a question that you need answered, just make sure that you leave it in the comment section and I'll try to answer it in the next video. Now I got to get squatting. I don't know if I'm going to cut that in, but maybe I will. We'll see. Might as well just get these squats in. 1 5-second pause with 4 normal squats. I mean, truth be told, I would rather just squat flat shoes, but I should squat in ollies, get a little bit more quad in there. As of right now, it's easy to keep my chest up, but like, it's only 265. And that's why I don't like squatting with like heel shoes, anything with a higher heel, because typically as the weight goes up with a high bar, for me, it introduces more lean, maybe because my short femurs. So it makes me feel like I'm falling forward or leaning forward. Really good set. Felt a little bit more narrow than I would normally go, but you know, because of the heel, I'm able to stay in a pretty decent position. These pure squat shoes, I think that these are great. Like, to be fair, probably not the best. And if you're buying these just to squat, probably gonna be a waste of money. Just because you can get something that has a 1-inch heel, it's a little bit more stable, cheaper. But you know, I'm not here to tell you how to use your money. All right, we'll do a set in the ANTAs just because. So I felt like getting depth in the ANTAs was easier to do. I feel like the heel feels higher in these shoes than it does on the Forces. But one thing that I noticed right away that drives me insanely crazy is that like it doesn't feel like I'm able to get full foot contact with the ANTAs as easy. Like I'm either sitting back or I'm sitting more forward and my heel comes up. It's really weird, but that feel drives me crazy. And I think it's because the midfoot is like so high. So the midfoot like pushes your foot up. So you're either forward or backwards. It's hard to get full contact or full foot pressure with the ANTAs. And then we might as well just do the loose too. The loose feel like money too. Like all the issues that I have with the ANTAs, I just don't have with the loose. They just feel way more connected, way more planted. They do feel like, interestingly, taller in the forefoot. But, and this goes against both the Forces and the ANTAs. But you know that that's not going to compress. Maybe it's because like the forefoot is maybe a little bit lifted off the ground and there's a little bit of a toe spring, but like, I mean, said it before, for $200 the loose are insane.